money, cause I better buy it. Yeah, my tare Wana wanyata kake kita story. Una kana setu una musi shoka story. Yo, want some cholo kadi float at doti. Ba like yo, sell it yo. Break it. 9 go hita ka 100.9. O tenga kwa no Tshidi Wyllie re tsana mo in sync.
Emotionally and physically in sync is brought to you by Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, MySec, and Botswana National Youth Council, BNYC.
Mo bekeng e fitileng ke ha re bua ka khotlang, and we had a very heated conversation ka dingwe tse ne gore di khona go baka khotlang gareng ga nna le dikakanyo tsa me, gareng ga me le ditsala tsa me, gareng ga me le masika a me, gareng ga me le batsadi ba me, gareng ga me le botlhe ba ke tshela le bona.
Bontse jalo Lerapo paying tribute to this young man, drama boy. Let me say to Banana, BNYC and MySec are there for you. He was close to many. He had a following. Some were relatives. He's not a loss only to his family, but a loss to the nation and to the music industry, the artist. They may be grieving his loss. Obviously, they are grieving his loss. Out there, MySec and BNYC have come up with a telephone counseling facility for you. How just to talk about what you are going through, having lost this powerful artist. Me losing him has done something to your emotions. Call 17270. 17270 from Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. and just talk about it.
Let's contact your couples, guys. Between 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. Monday to Friday. Mawailu Wyllie number ke 17270. Officially, bontsi ba nako e le gore we are overwhelmed Mawailu. Ga re itse gore who do you run to? Who do you speak to? Who's there to give you a shoulder to cry on?
Your couples is there to give you that shoulder. Many times we just don't know who can we talk to, and we stay silent when we are hurting. But Yoka Plus is saying, I'm available, talk to me, I'm here for you.
Mawailu re bua ka khotlang bontsi bana go re le bana re ipitlela le gore khotlang e leng gore re nna re ipitlela re le mo go yone ke ya rona le maikutlo a rona. Young people, we are depressed. And ke bua se nna e le gore ke mongwe e leng gore I don't think you ever really recover from depression. I've been going through counseling for quite some time. Me ano ke be ke renya me ano ke feel gore ke botoka ntse ke ena me ke eme pele ke apply se leng gore o na nthusa o ntetsa renya me lebella botshelo ke jana ka tsela ting. But we get to be triggered by even the smallest of things. How do you?
There will always be triggers, depending on what you are experiencing in life. The important thing is to be aware that you are being triggered. What are your triggers in most times? And then having to reach out to somebody and talk to somebody. If it's severe depression, it may need medical attention. Therefore, when you see a clinical psychologist or when you see a medical doctor, they may be able, if it's severe, to prescribe some drugs that may be able to address the issue. But usually depression, there are underlying causes of it. Even if you are medicated, but those underlying issues are not addressed, the medication will just suppress that rather than address the root cause of the issue. That is why psychotherapy is very, very important. Or going for therapy was at the same time taking medication from prescriptions from clinical psychologists after they've done the relevant assessment.
Let's talk about the common signs of conflict. I just mentioned depression, or you are depressed, you are stressed. Ga o itse gore ke eng se leng gore sa go depressa mme ntlhangwe e leng gore ya go kaetsa gore mme you actually having conflict ke yona kgang ya gore you are depressed, you are stressed out ka kgang tse e leng gore o dila le tsone ka nako yo e ka nna gore gongwe o na le kgotlhang le ba e leng gore o tshela le bone. It goes back to kgang ya conflict. O na le kgotlhang le maikutlo a gago, o na le kgotlhang le go ikamogela gore o motho e leng gore o mang. Let's speak to that, Wyllie.
Symptoms and signs of conflict. Maybe probably not just looking at in your personal life, but also looking at the workplace. Where there is conflict, there are always signs and symptoms that are easier to pick. That even when you arrive, even as an outsider, and you sit there and you observe the interactions and the engagements and how the staff members, colleagues, or the family is interacting, it's able to give out a lot. You're able to pick up a lot of things that tells you that something is not right somewhere in this family or in this organization, if it's at the workplace. And then many times, like we said, because we come from different perspective, backgrounds, personalities, clashes, different religions and different political affiliations and family differences and stuff like that, you find that it's not possible for us as individuals, if we are in a setting, whether it's at the workplace, to always agree on things. That is why last week we were saying, where there are people, there is bound to be conflict. Now, before we touch on these signs and symptoms, I want to touch on what you said last week about you feeling that you could marry your cousin, which stimulated a lot of debate out there, outside of air, especially on Facebook. I took it to the elders. Elders, let's discuss this. Would it be right for Thabiso, for example, for young people to marry and date their cousins? Maybe the elders are saying no, Thabiso. For example, from former Department of Special Support Services, Ministry wa Thuto go tswa go Modi, the former directors, they said no way. From Officer Naye go Nairobi, Kenya, said and many others. Because when you date your cousin or you marry your cousin, follow up, the relationship is you would have divided, you will end up with a divided family. Medica it's okay, whether it's at the workplace, it's that one someone. At their workplace, what are the things that are there, the signs or symptoms that really shows them, reveal to them, here where I'm working there is conflict. There is conflict. And what are in most cases the key sources of that conflict? What time do they tend to happen, these issues, conflict are there? The rest of the other organizational members or staff members by behavior.
Share le rona ga ile gore manana ka ile ka go tsang gore ditso le teng gore ke ntse le gore tlo iphitlhelle o le mo gone se go le bogolo mo tirong. I'll start.
Let's hear from you.
Re le banana Wyllie bontsi bana go re batla gore ga re tsena mo tirong re ba utlwa ne ra zipa e be re itlhela hi mother, hi khomotso tshwenyego e se ka lepe hela ra go itlhela rena le bagolo mo ditirong ne ra le bo aus khomotso ga ba kgone go taboga ka pace ya rona re le banana re speed re matlhagatlhaga re batla gore re ne innovative mme go mo ka tswa go hela go jwala kgotlang gareng ga rona le bagolo mo tirong ka gore bone ba tsamaya at snail pace rona
speed apart from snail pace but tlwaetse gore mo dilo di dirwa jana when you are coming with new initiatives, a new way of doing things,
challenging the status quo.
Yeah, because you are trying to go with the trend, the global changes. Rona re bale kana ba maloba bale. Ya no homo can threaten us. It can feel to us about holo motirong gore o ka re la re challenger. O ka re ga le ba go dira ka rona re twaetse di dilo di dira ga re ba the space changer. So the status quo, when you want to change this, it may bring up conflict, but le bona kae ga o tsana mo tirong gore go ha go na le conflict. Let me mention a few whilst we are waiting for them to call in. Usually o bona at the workplace where colleagues are not speaking to each other, they're giving each other silent treatment. And even just a simple dumela hela o sa jeweng Thabiso, somebody comes in and say dumela, depending on what ke mang and later young, you may choose to just ignore and pretend gore ga a re dumela, while others are saying hi, and then somebody else different comes in and abare dumela same as that one, and you are up on your feet and excited and responding to him. Why is that? Why are you treating this one different from the other person? Usually, colleagues not talking to each other.
Also the body language.
Also the body language says a lot. Like, for example, if you are trying to engage with somebody about something that may be an error that need to be corrected, and they are crossed-armed, which says to you it's a sign of defensiveness. They don't like where you are going with this conversation. They feel attacked. And there's a tendency to do that. It's a closing off. It's trying to say don't come anywhere near or closer by closed arm, like folded arms, and avoiding eye contact, which may be saying to a person you are talking to that you are making me nervous. But many times we see this, but we don't try to read what they could be meaning. It could be mean that you are making that person nervous. That's why they are not maintaining eye contact, or they are looking elsewhere. Or they could be telling you something. You could be telling them something that's making them uncomfortable. You could be telling them something that they may be giving you a response, and that response is not truthful, so they are avoiding maintaining contact. Or frowning, which could be evidence of discontentment or anger. Or some people turn away and face away, or some people walk away. Gossip, if you find at your workplace, gossip is accepted as a norm. And all that. And then you pay attention, is there one particular individual who is always doing this? Or is it a trend that in this organization, staff members always gossip about others and about their supervisors and about their directors? Is this one particular individual who has a pattern, a behavior pattern of doing that? You could dismiss it and say it's not an organizational problem. Therefore, is this particular individual who seems to have these tendencies? I get it.
Wyllie, I have an axe. I get it. Banana axe. Axe.
Okay.
We have a axe. I have an axe.
Okay, let's hear.
On gossip. We feel like hey, yo, Oscar Mwana can Ke batla go botsa Wyllie so sena seka akere obviously how seba o bua o mongwe maso ya bad mouthing the next person. America ke le gore go tsong ho kwa go baka gore be go na le digongwana mo tirong.
Yes.
Digongwana tseo a medi baka khotlang in the workplace.
Digongwana tseo kana di are taking sides. Seo aka o bua no se. Bona le ba to go dumelanang le yole yo se ba ka ga ene le ba ba saedang le seo se buang le ka tso o ke ditse o tsentse le tswai that can create factions at the workplace, especially if these gossips and this bad mouthing and talking about somebody behind their back is where we are both mouthing and saying all things that may not be true about our management. There are those who are going to agree probably with Mr. Mutei, and then there are those who are going to probably disagree with him, and therefore you end up with factions. Our kids are conflict, toka kutu susano lo khotlang, the factions reside aliole haba bamba side aliole bamba fila gore yole o wrong wena o fila gore o right, so those are increasing. They increase conflict rather than resolve or help address the conflict. And then at times this corridor talk, like corridor bashing. If I'm your supervisor and really I'm not happy with your work, Thabiso, I think the right way would be to call you into my office and try and address whatever that we are concerned about as management, rather than just bash you in front of everybody in the corridor, where now it's heard by everybody who's going like, that's where then the Hongwana will come in as well, because there are those who feel like, you shouldn't have done it here. Others are saying, who did listen? They let him tell him off. Behavior in this manner. So organizational performance, it decline. That also should be a symptom, a sign that tells you as a leader that there is an issue or there are issues that needs to be addressed, because many times it will also be evident in the quality of the product that comes out. All of a sudden there is a mediocre performance and there's poor quality coming out. That should be a sign to you to go to the bottom of that and try and address what is going on. Could they be disgruntled? Could they be unhappy? Could it has to do with payment? Could it have to do with the fact that sometimes hela be already 30 I mean in the next month for this particular month? Could this be the issue? Could they be unhappy about the salary that they're getting? And you go to the bottom of it. And then regular hearings and dismissals. Every time and then there is somebody who's called to a hearing, somebody who's being fired. If it happens a lot, there is something wrong in that organization, and it increase resignations. Level let it tend in there's resignation. So and so tended their resignation. But company 6 months. Why? Let's look at that and try and see what could be contributing towards these people going. Is there a conflict here? Are they unhappy here? What is it that making the staff unhappy? I hope Banana are listening. And then dysfunctional meetings. Some meetings you try to attend them and stay silent and just observe. Just observe the interactions and the way the meeting is run, is conducted from the beginning to the end. By the time you leave that, you can write a whole book about what you saw going in and what it says. There are meetings that are so dysfunctional that is so much tension, and people can even have a say, cannot contribute into the development and the growth of the organization. And excessive anxiety and stress also may develop out of the conflict existing. There may also be a sign when you have people very often highly stressed that I just explode. I mean, that is so trivial, that is so small that it did not necessitate the response I'm getting. Then where could this mean that my staff, my employees, or my colleague is going through a personal challenge at home? Could it be why I react the way I react, things like that, and complaints, regular complaints. These were to the managers, the directors, or whoever is responsible, HR offices, and nobody ever addresses them. They don't even feel like they belong in an organization. Those complaints should be saying something. How can 10, 20? Also keeping on complaining about the same person. And then yet you don't do anything or says that should be telling you something. And low employee morale. These are some of the signs and the symptoms of conflict in a workplace that could be saying to you, Hona lebo thata. Let's introspect.
Se ke se itseng ke gore ga mereki a le demotivated, obviously ga ye gonna le morale. Maybe le ga sna morale o rileng ga ya performa sentle, ga gonna le stress seo, ga gonna le anxiety eo, ga gonna le di meetings ene gore di dysfunctional.
Very true.
They all go back to that point in re bua ka ona gore ra resign mo ditirong. 35001313 35001331 76281885. Have you ever experienced or felt any sign or a symptom of conflict mo tirong? Ona samagana le one ka tseleng jang? Ono wa dira jang? Arutlwe ntshware mo 35001331. I'm going to be taking your calls on the other side of Drama Boy Array Township Music. Ntshware.
I don't think so. Makerele gore odiki on a tip ya motoko when I'm riding for the cheese. Put your hands in the air if you wanna be free. Right down to my hood if you wanna see them. Mapantula, this is alagala kisaba otangola. Modite, mapakela gareto garike kile. Le mazoti gaba feta reba shebile. Ibile, oledi ya tatso washene. Ebekele ka go sega tsetse ise go sana matata ole modite. Boko dilo tsa go kalemiwa mo di le majeri ba ba sendela ba tsona modite. Ona tip ya motsoko ga kera sa modite. Modite mabeza modite.
Yeah, why you how we do it, move it, like anybody,
Who that nigga? Everybody knows that. I'm the drummer boy, everybody go there. I like your boy if you have a missed call. Jerome Masalana guitar pissed off. I'm trying to get paid like Thabiso. Always on top, Jakarta like Tshidi. Get drama wa kutsikinya magate.
Come on, Ari. Yes, get Drama Boy wa Makishani is called Godzilla mo 87.9. Go hitla ka 100.9. Ke yone le gore he rocketed to fame ka yone in Godzilla. Come on.
Like drug dealer, making it bigger like a Godzilla.
Ke yone re go sa bomitsong le roba bobedi go lebeng kwana konya bobedi nna lwana ra kgagana mona konya bobedi. Lifestyle Avenue e tlabele mo pitseng Pearl e bineng o tlaba le teng ka kono go gotsa a go isa kwana go nya bone. Re na le Tshidi Wyllie me ke batla gore mo 35001331 o share le rona gore a o kile o iphitlhela ile gore mo khotlhangeng maybe le ka ono le mo khotlhangeng jalo o no a dira jang o samagane jang le yone o bone jang gore mme so se mmehela la ibile ntse go teng mo ke khotlhang o mo tirong gona le batho ba ileng gore ba reka le bone ga o utlwane le bone. How do you progress going forward? Car at the end of the day, koparasi ngwana go hai. Hey, ga sa kwa ga lona. A WhatsApp voice note coming through ka kwano on the WhatsApp line ya 76281885.
Hello, Duma FM. Ke tsamaise topic ya rona ha gare wa tsanyene ki yuta le bua ka go kwera maikuto mo tirong. Ya no se ne ke ka se ga kolla na go sekolong ile ke ithutile gore gore de like go manager ya what they can do gore bone ba bereki ba ska ba na le gona go nyema mo e ka na di gantsa ba change duties tsa bone go job management, job rotation jalo go keletsa madi. Those things di gona le tsa di dira gore mereke a go ura skata.
ke a utlwa o diaka ke a utlwa Wyllie Emma
re o bua ka retention strategies
Yes.
tse di dirang gore o motivate babereki ba gago ba nne tlhaga mo tirong go reduce di-conflict tse di ka tswang, because some of the things he's mentioning may contribute towards a conflict happening in the workplace. So ke a mo akgola for saying that,
danko
and he's o nepile.
alright a re utlwe a le one mo 3500131 Duma FM dumelang e shapo se da thiaka
Chapo guy.
taboga ka yone ga ya rema sentle
O bua le toka dina mo maatla braya. O bua nyo ya ri ragalla kwa no se chirita se re dire braya na kwa go tie kwa na se re bone madi a September ya ga o bua ku bia mo tiro.
Yeah,
thank you nkgonne
the concept.
a re tsa go mo Duma FM dumelang okay ga gona gope Duma FM hali shapo z nkgonne ka bonako tara
Ke re how go want to structure se no gore wena as employer you should put in place. There isn't any problem when na conflict with you. What is important to worry are the system functional enough in order to address those concerns. Ya go lo bua rona le batla le dira ditaba ka go fast which is sufficient. But ne when ba ditlang ba golwana, are they really skilled enough to cope with that decision? As an employer, you need to deal with that situation. Because sometimes I always say that unless and until you understand where is the problem, you are able to solve the problem, because how na system is accountable.
nkgonne wa re o mohiri wena o dira jang go samagana le kgotlhang e leng gore e teng gareng ga ba bereki
In most cases, like what I agree systems are in place. When now you have those systems that pick up for the problem in Jakarta. Let me give you a very simple example. Deliverable. The target. You say to yourself, why was this target not each individual performance?
Yes.
Hela, who is at fault, who is right? Because when you pick on individual performance, we see that graph. No, this person actually performed. This person didn't perform. When I understand that the goals and the deliverables are combined.
yeah
To start that conflict is this other person, you only think that responsibility.
yeah
Okay.
Deal with that question.
Okay.
ke a leboga nkgonne
No, thank you so much. And sometimes, to add to what he's saying, that person who failed to perform, it may be issues of are they qualified? Are they trained? Are they retooled to be able to perform that function? Because at times we just throw people into the deep end and we expect them to perform, and they're lacking the skills to be able to perform the roles that they're supposed to perform as organizations. He's also right in wrapping us, let's say, it's key, it's very, very important to identify the causes of the conflict and to be able to see if you have the means to be able to address those things that are creating or triggering the conflict at the workplace. Conflict, like we said, is inevitable. It will always exist in organizations, in families, and at the workplace, and even at national level. But the most important thing is to learn from the conflict and to try and address the issues that are the factors that are triggering this conflict, and then be able to move forward. Learn from the conflict that is existing. For banana experiencing conflict at home, find somebody to talk to. The strategy that MySec and BNYC have come up with, which is a telephone counseling facility, is there so that you can be able to vent out your pent-up emotions, so that you can share what you are going through. It's better to have somebody listen to you rather than just die by yourself on your own inside of you, having issues that are not being listened to. Because at times in families, when you try to raise the issues, you may be perceived as your higher difficulty, but conflict exists in it will always be there. It's how we address it or how we fail to address it that may lead to bigger things emerging and collapsing the organizations and affecting families. With these few words, stay connected. Call Yorka 17270. Okay, quickly, Thabiso, let me ask you this question, and I want you to quickly respond to that.
Yeah.
For example, these are some of the things that create conflict.
Mm.
You at your workplace, you know very well you are next in place for promotion or to go for further training. But however, your COO just decided to choose someone else. What's they hang up together weekend and therefore does not choose you. And you get the feeling that for some reason why I choose somebody else. Next in line to go for training. Is this realistic or not realistic? How would that make you feel?
It will depend on the qualification. If they are qualified, I don't have the problem with that.
But mutuo kona na hiro amaloba ota go hitela mo tirong
nya ho ya
ngya hitela ntse ba isiwa training o ntse ba promotiwa ke na kwa ga go a ro promotiwa ba to go promotiwa motho o hirile morago ga gago kana kgenge ya ria. Is it realistic? The conflict that will develop, will it be realistic or unrealistic?
It will be realistic.
And then you could be driving like you often drive more GC. Some driver just cuts in front of you recklessly, and then an accident and then one doesn't want to own up to that. Want to make it look like when you were driving too close to them, if you got angry and road rage and upset, would this conflict be realistic or not realistic?
You know why I get
how did you handle it?
Let's not talk about that. I was angry.
Did you end up being given the ticket, charged by the police, but somebody just cut in front of you like that? So conflict that day was realistic. You had every right to be upset at that point. You see, your feelings were, emotions were justified. And then let's go to Minister Tuto Momudi, teacher or motlasi. And then you are pressed, you need to rush to the bathroom. School head the rounds. I had that class in Yahaku, tell us, see or mutlasim, Banabali knows, and assume Koro, do you sell a immediately walk office in Wahokwala a warning letter without engaging with you first. Would you be upset, angry, furious? Would you be justified if after that there's no good relations with you and the school head?
You have every right to be upset because you are not consulted. They don't have your side of the story. They don't even know the reason why you are outside of the classroom.
No,
bye.
Emotionally and physically in sync